Hi, welcome to Module 6, Language Development. This is a pretty critical chapter in the sense that language development is one of the most important tasks for human development. And in childhood and infancy, this is when we really look at how human beings are able to learn how to speak, which is unique among the animal kingdom, right? So we start out in this module. I have an overview of language development and what that means. And there's a different series of videos from the BBC. But even if you just watch the first one, it gives you a sense of what happens in the brains and in the physical development that all contributes to language development. Next, we'll move on to how language develops specifically. And we start out by looking too at the importance of gestures and sign language. And then in fact, among the deaf community, sign language is absolutely a legitimate form of a language. And it has both cultural implications as well as communication factors that are involved. And this is true for all language. So I'm not sure that your textbook authors do a good job about explaining that part, and that the importance of language to culture. And we talk about that a lot in the news when it comes to the French language community, when we look at Aboriginal first language and how loss of language and contributed to a loss of culture. So I want you to keep this in mind for your discussion question, which is around which is around American Sign Language for the deaf community. Because with new technology, sometimes it's possible for people who are deaf to have cochlear implants, thus making them hearing to some extent and able to have verbal language again. But this is a debate, and there's a lot of people among the deaf community who don't agree that should be a practice because it then eradicates an important part of their culture. So please keep in mind where your position is on that debate. Next, we have the biological and environmental influences. And in this section, I show you a very heartbreaking video of the story of Jeannie. And it was important for research purposes because this was finally a case where there was somebody who was 13 years old, who had been deprived of important sensory and environmental conditions that some theorists believed were essential to language development. But she certainly had all the physical components that theoretically also, if you believed in more of a biological view, could mean that she could learn. So the question became, what could Jeannie learn in terms of language development? And so watch that video and see what happened. And again, just warning, it's a pretty sad one because it's a terrible case, and the ethics of even studying the case are debatable. Finally, though, I leave things on a much happier note in looking at kids with Williams syndrome. Now, Williams syndrome is interesting because up until this, most of our understanding of language development is that it co-occurs with intelligence. But here's a unique case where kids with Williams syndrome have very low IQ, but often very highly developed vocabulary, as well as a myriad of skills and musical interests and a social ability that is very unique. So enjoy that video and in developing your knowledge of kids with Williams syndrome. And I'll see you next time.